find out I wasn't even gonna get the Gap pen because you had to buy a certain number of carts, and I can't go to the dispensary every day because I can't go to the fucking dispensary every day. So I'm not buying certain carts it needs for that Gap pen because it's magnetic. So I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna buy it. I lost my card for no damn reason. Mango's good. Favorite one so far.
We're still gonna move on to our next section, which we call.
Alright, now we're going to try out pink lemonade. My stoned ass, I picked up 2 pink lemonades. Whoops. Just now realized. So, sorry for the little amount of clickbait. But we're only going to be trying 3 different cards. And testing out the best Gap pen. I don't know if I'm going to title it that, but that'd be fun. The best Gap pen. Alright, yeah. Check these levels out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yo, the fuck? 1, 2, 3. Dude, am I fucking retarded? Alright. Highest setting, 3.7 volts. Let's get it. Oh, this is pink lemonade. What percent is this? Pink lemonade. Alright, this one's only 80% THC, so a little bit less, but it is an indica. My favorite kind. Comment down below if you're a sativa guy or gal, or indica guy or gal. Me personally, I am a fan of the indicas. I love just being slumped. I love getting super stoned and just chill. I basically watch Rick and Morty, every stoner, The Office. I've really been into The Flash. I've been watching those.
When it's all long forgotten. And when it's all under control.
I actually just finished The Flash. I watched all 5 seasons in 1 month. I fucking grinded that shit. But new episode, season 6 comes out soon. Pink lemonade. It's not that bad. Fuck, I got no water. I got baby lungs. Listen, I'm not bragging. I can take the biggest tabs, okay? I can't. But here we go. We're going to take a big dab. Last one, pink lemonade. Leave a like if you want to see more shit. Subscribe. Who knows? Maybe I'll start smoking on YouTube every once in a while. That's kind of fun. It's a hobby. Well, all right. Peace out. That was the video.
Doctors watch take you places you never thought
Very first ever iCarly web practical complete remote. Thanks to 3 dozen extension cords of various colors and girths.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet again another video from your boy Seshh. Now for today's video, we're going to be going on another rant, man. Yeah, you guys are probably like, what? Like 2 rant videos within a 1 week time span. You was like, this is very unusual. Yeah, it is very unusual of me to make like 2 videos like this in 1 single week. But I felt like the last video, I had so many positive comments, and it got me thinking, you know? Usually my comments aren't really like that late. I got to think, I was like, why did people like this video as opposed to another video? And I was like, wait, there's only really one good reason for that. And it's because I feel like us as human beings, we're just so tired of the fake shit, like people putting up a mask, getting on camera and just like saying shit that probably is freaking scripted. I mean, I personally don't script my videos at all. Like it's all off the top of my head. But I feel like most people, they'll put on this fake mask and they don't talk like what they really want to talk about, right? So that's why I was like, you know what? The people want to hear some real shit. Here I am coming back at you guys with another rant video. Today's topic that we're going to be touching on is going to be why I think that smoking less is best. In that last video, I touched base on how I smoke like literally almost every hour of the day down here, and now I minimized it to maybe 2 to 3 sessions per day. So I thought this would be a good topic on telling you guys why I like smoking less, and also going to be touching base on why I personally think that smoking less is more beneficial than literally just smoking down here every single hour of the day. But don't think that we're not going to be getting smacked throughout this video. In today's video, I'm going to be eating a couple of these new Delta Munchies HHC gummies because I was thinking about it. I was like, yo, I've tried HHC in only the vape format, and yeah, it's pretty good. I just don't remember the last time that I had them in gummy format. So I had to try these in specific because you guys already know how I feel. At this point, I definitely do feel like Delta Munchies is one of the most reputable brands in the Delta 8 HHC industry. And not only that, but they're one of the most potent ones, right? So right here I have Blue Raz Fruit Punch. Inside every single bottle is going to come 625 milligrams of HHC, 25 gummies. Each single one of them is going to be 25 milligrams each. So I'm going to go ahead and pop 4 of these suckers right now. And then we're also going to be chiefing on this Mela Nada Dark XL. Personally, one of my favorite flavors that they have out right now. All right, so right here, I got 4 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and just throw these down the hatch. And so far, off of the first feel, they feel very, very nice and soft. So you can tell these are already going to be good. Yeah, the overall texture on that was fire, lightly coated in sugar, no hemp taste whatsoever, no sticky residue sticking to your teeth. And so far, I mean, they taste freaking fire. I hit quickly go ahead and open the Delta Munchies Mela Nada Dark XL. For those of you who don't know what the Dark XL is, it's a 2-gram disposable filled with, I believe it's their Delta 8. But yeah, let's go ahead and give this a quick little hit and let's get back into the rest. Cheers. Super smooth, bro. It kind of reminds me of like that green, like that. I don't know what that green freaking melon is. I think it's cantaloupe, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. I don't know. All right, don't roast me down in the comments. But it tastes like that green melon. It has a sweet undertone right there to it, and it does have a hint of like, I want to say like an earthiness to it. And so now that we've said enough, get back into the rant. Like I said, we're touching base on why I think that smoking weed is more beneficial overall as opposed to you just smoking damn near every hour or every 2 to 3 hours, right? Currently, right now, my schedule for the past, like I want to say maybe like 2 months or so, is I only have 2 to 3 sessions, right? Sometimes I don't really make it to that 3rd session because I'm just too busy throughout my day. But for the 2 sessions, the first one won't be until around maybe like noon. So after I wake up, I'll go a couple of hours without smoking. I'll go to the gym, I'll take a shower, I'll eat breakfast, I'll do whatever I have to do, respond to emails. And when I look at the clock, it's already going to be around noon, and that's when I start my first session, all right? And let me tell you guys, after this first session, like your boy is completely blitzed, all right? Like after I'm done with my session, I literally catch myself just staring into space. Like I go into such a deep, like literally like tush coma that I'm like, damn, I could damn near almost fall asleep. And I love feeling this way because before, like I said, if you watch that video, I said that I smoked like so many times throughout the day to the point where I wouldn't even give myself breaks. I feel like I would really just be high all day, and I really wouldn't get to feel the full effects of the strain. Like I feel like whenever I would smoke, I'm like, yeah, I would get a tad bit high, but I would not be blitzed like I am after that first session that I have now. Now it's like I literally like I just spaced out, bro. I'm just like reaping the benefits.
Quicker picker up.
No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today, I'm extremely excited to be doing an interview with possibly my favorite YouTuber at this time. Somebody I've been fascinated by ever since I found out about him. I really believe one of the best voices coming up out of this sort of prison YouTube world, but has definitely become something a lot bigger than that. Today, we're sitting down with the one and only 1090 Jake.
So,
My guy, how you doing?
man, I'm doing good, bro. I appreciate you bringing me out here.
No doubt, man. That's a conversation I wanted to have ever since I found out about you, because I feel like you're somebody where you came up super fast because people just see you, they realize you're the real deal, and there's just like a huge amount of fascination around what you got going on.
Yeah,
For sure. So one thing that I haven't really seen you discuss that much that I'm really interested in is, can we talk about your very early life, like all about growing up and everything? You're from Massachusetts originally.
Yeah, I grew up in Massachusetts. I was born in Malden, which is like right outside of Boston. It's like 5 train stops away.
You ever been to Nashville?
I've never been to Nashville.
That's
I lived in New Hampshire for a year.
Where
Or
at?
not even a year. I think it was a month. I don't remember because I was so young. I was like 2. We moved there, and then our house got robbed right after Christmas, and we got the fuck out. Yeah, so
New Hampshire's good for that, yeah.
yeah, I had no idea about nothing. I thought it was just snowboarding and all that, but I found out I actually lived there, and it didn't go too good.
Right.
But for me, I grew up all over the place. You know, my parents, they separated before I was born,
Right.
so I grew up really. It was 2 different households, and I can't say it was like a bad home, but it was hostile at times because whichever parent I'm with is talking about the other one. So it's a lot of situations like if I'm getting dropped off on the weekend at this house, I got to go get the child support check, and you know, they're not even trying to see each other. So
Right.
it was kind of a hostile environment. It wasn't a bad home as far as like poverty and all that, but it wasn't a happy home either.
Yeah, were your parents sort of in the streets or outside like that at all?
I never knew anything about any of that until I grew up. So like my mother, nah, not at all. And my mother, when I was real young, I'd be going and living with my aunt. So I lived with her a lot. That's who I ended up moving in with when I went down to Florida. I lived with her because my mom was just doing her thing. She was still young. She was young when she had me. And my father, I always had a gangster impression of him. So I'm Italian and Irish. So the whole family big on like all the mob shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm always looking at him like, oh, he must be in something. He must be in something because just the way he moved. He's got a friend on every block we go to. People always pulling up. I'm just thinking he got a lot of friends when I'm little. Years down the line, I found out he was selling drugs the whole time. So I had no idea about none of that. You know what I mean?
But so you never really saw like the impact of
No,
that?
I never saw anything crazy. I just thought he had a lot of friends. They never exposed me to nothing, so I can't complain and say like, oh, as a kid I was seeing this and that. I wasn't. You know what I mean? Everything was, but I found out later on. Like at one point in time, because when I didn't have a bed, bro, until I was like 8 years old. I was on couches, futons, floors, shit like that.
Wow.
So my people would stay with other people. So my father would stay in the basement. We on a pull-out couch, whatever it is. We had a hallway you would go through to get to the bathroom, and that's where the washer and dryer was. I think I had toys in there, some shit, and I found a gun. You know what I mean? So he caught me when I found it. He trying to tell me it's a BB gun, but he won't let me. Like he took it away, put it up, you know, whatever. And then I found out what that was. So just as I got older, you know.
Definitely. Did it occur to you as a kid, like, oh, I'm coming up from like a very rough background? Because I feel like there's got to be a moment where it sort of starts to click for you and you realize that your upbringing might be different from other kids.
Nah, it didn't click until I went to school. Because I've been to a bunch of different schools. I lived in a bunch of different neighborhoods. So one thing about me, I don't claim a specific neighborhood because I've always moved. I've always switched schools. So at one point, I went to one school. There was one black kid in the whole school. It's an all-white school.
Right.
But me, I don't have the money, so I'm not dressing the same way. I'm not looking the same way, so I'm standing out. I'm not acting the same way. That's when I started noticing differences. Or like trying to have someone come over my house to hang out, and they view my house, they're looking kind of crazy. And then their parents don't want me to hang out with their kid, little shit like that.
Right.
And then once I moved with my father, got back into the city, I fit right in.
Right. Definitely. So you get in trouble in school and stuff because you have that anger that sort of pushed you in that direction?
Nah, I was a class clown. Yeah, I didn't do shit. It got to a point where teachers wouldn't even give me no schoolwork. I like to hang out. I liked it because it was fun, but as far as getting in trouble, nah, I got suspended a shitload of times. It really got worse, like middle school, high school.
Right.
High school, freshman year, they had me in an investigation for selling ecstasy, guns in the school. So we had a whole little situation going on.
So, I mean, you're in elementary school. Presumably, you're not really selling any illegal stuff. At what point? At what point does that kind of kick in?
I wasn't on shit till middle school.
Okay.
Really, the year before I moved down to Florida.
Right.
So I was with my father for 1 year. I moved in with him. Whatever. He went his way. He kind of turned on me.
So you left Boston, the Boston area, what age?
I moved down to Florida when I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's a totally different environment, or?
Yeah. I moved down to Florida within like 2 months. I had my first gun down there.
Really?
Yeah, it was easy.
And you hadn't been thinking about getting a gun when you were in Mass?
Fuck no, but I came down here and everybody got everything.
Right.
It's a whole nother world. It's a different culture. And like for me, bro, I didn't have shit in common with people. Like I didn't like sports. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. So for me, I was attracted to the madness.
Right.
So everywhere I went, I sought out people that was into the shit that I'm into.
Right.
You could have put me in any environment, I would have found the worst people there because that's the type of shit I was doing. And that's what I would connect with people on. Oh, you want to fight? Oh, you want to do this? You that? All right, I like you. You know what I mean? So when I went to Florida, that's what I was seeking out. And at the time, when I moved down there, I was angry because, you know, there's a lot of shit with my parents, abuse and shit that I really don't get into because I'm not really on good terms with them right now, even to this day. But by the time I moved down there, I was an insecure, angry 13-year-old kid that wanted to hurt people to feel better about me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I kind of like lashed out. When I first moved, I moved in with my grandmother. She couldn't control me.
Even less of a chance of her controlling you than your parents.
But she couldn't do shit. I wasn't going to school or nothing.
Right. Where in Florida did you move again?
When I first moved down, I was in the Port Charlotte, Northport area, which is like more South Florida, but I was back and forth in Tampa.
Right.
So my aunt was in Tampa. I couldn't move in with her immediately. I was with my grandmother for a year and causing all hell. Then I moved to Tampa.
Right. Do you even know about gang shit when you first moved to Florida?
Yo, fuck yeah.
Okay. You already knew about that.
I already knew that up in Boston. So that's really where I had like my first impression on gangs. Is when I was younger, there was somebody older than me. He was probably like 15, but being young as fuck, I'm looking at him like, oh, that's the big bro.
Right.
And he was blood. You know what I mean? So he telling me like we riding out, hanging out, and he's like, oh yeah, you that. So from that early age, I'm screaming on that, even though I'm really not.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I go to Florida, I'm still in the same shit, but the gang shit down there, that's what was more official and in your face.
How established was the gang shit in Boston though at that time?
It's not at all.
It doesn't seem like it would have been much.
It isn't even to this day. So Boston ain't really on no hood. It's all hoods.
Right.
It's not really gangs. You might have certain gang members within certain hoods. You know what I mean? Because you even got like out here the Stones, BPS or whatever. They in Boston.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's all West Side. So,
but there's not a lot of examples of that, of gangs that are out here that also exist in Boston.
Nah, outside of Massachusetts, they got Asian boys, they got Tiny Rascals. A lot of the Cambodian gangs that started out here, they migrated to Mass.
Right.
They got GDs from Chicago, all type of shit, but it's not in the city of Boston. Boston is strictly hoods and streets.
Right.
So like for me, when I moved out, the street I was living on, just that one street had multiple different hoods. Every single, you got one corner store for you. The next corner store is someone else's shit.
It's crazy because I lived in Lowell for a year, going to UMass Lowell when I was 19. And when I think back on that time period, nobody was talking about like black gangs or like, oh, you got to be scared of this dude or whatever. It was the Cambodians that people were scared of. Like if you were at the skate park, the person who was going to rob you at the skate park or whatever was a Cambodian dude for sure, which is kind of strange to me at the time, because now people act like when I did that stupid young vlog, people are shocked. I'm like, I was kind of used to that.
They be getting it in.
Yeah.
They demand respect and they'll fuck some shit up. So
big time.
They do their thing.
Okay, but so how'd you kind of find your groove in Florida?
Well, like I said, I was attracted to the madness. So by the time I hit Tampa, just seeking out the people I was seeking out, I got into the crowd, you know what I'm saying? So on a game tip, it wasn't like I had applications and was like, oh, you can be a Crip, you can be a this. Everybody around me was blood. Tampa's a blood city. We got other shit, but Tampa, you know, it's blood. That's what it is. It's a red city.
Right.
So I got around the homies and shit. I've already been claiming this shit anyways, and I wasn't even officially, you know what I mean? And then I got put on.
Right. How was that?
I mean, it is what it is. You got to go through it.
Yeah, but there's levels to that shit. Would you say it was a 10 or was it a light one?
Nah, mine was wild. I'm white, so it's different. A lot of people like, oh, you ain't no white bloods, ain't no this, ain't no that. There really ain't.
Right.
So at this point in time, not to sound no type of way, but I'm about the biggest known white blood that there is. It's not common like that.
It's not.
So for me, I had to show out.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, yeah, I got my ass whooped.
When you think about it in retrospect, do you feel like you always felt like you had to go harder because you're white, or you had to really sort of overcompensate because you didn't want anybody trying to press you?
I mean, it ain't even, you gonna get pressed. Like, that's what comes with the territory. But everybody you meet, you're gonna have the same reaction, bro. And it's just like, even when I jumped on YouTube, the majority of the people that's talking shit, they're not in nothing. It's random fat white guys that sit at home, 30s, 40s, 50s, and talk mad shit. I don't know why, but the sober community hates me. All the ex-drug addicts and shit, they're like, oh, you ain't on nothing. I was over here. And like, bro, worry about the sobriety. Don't worry about me. But it's like, a lot of people will just look at it like, oh, white this, nah, he ain't on that.
Yeah.
But then they talk to somebody. So there was a situation when I was in prison, a homie came through. The homie's telling him who I am. And he's like, oh, ain't no white down move. He's like, oh, yeah? Go tell him. He said, what you mean? Nah, go tell him that.
Right.
He didn't want to tell me. So, you know, that in itself, it speaks for itself, you know what I mean?
And it puts you in kind of a weird position where it's like you have to sort of express yourself way more aggressively just to defend the shit that you are saying that you are. You know?
I'm not even, like, bro, I'm to myself. I'm quiet, you know what I mean?
Now.
So, yeah, well, even then, bro, like, I wasn't really like a loud mouth type of, like, just get loud and seem aggressive. Nah, it was just when it came down to doing things, I did things.
Right.
And the things that I did, the word traveled on it. Definitely. So it kind of built its own reputation.
Yeah, that's one thing I got from watching some of your older interviews is like, oh, Jake learned at a very young age that he had to just not wait for somebody else to be aggressive to him. He had to be ready to just go for it.
No, yeah.
Let them get the drop.
I started just smacking shit, especially when I went to prison.
Right.
You just got to do what you got to do.
And you were doing youth offender shit or whatever, so you were getting locked up throughout your...
Nah, so the youth offender thing be confusing a lot of people. So I went through juvie. I did the juvie thing, but I went to prison when I turned 18.
Okay.
So in Florida, we have youth offender prisons. So people will be like, oh, that sounds like kid shit, da-da-da. The youth offenders in the Florida Department of Corrections is the most fucking violent prisons you're going to be in.
Right.
So this is state prison. We're going to state prison. This isn't, we got our own section now. We go to the same reception as the adults. We're on the same transfer buses as the adults. Youth offenders 14 to 24 years old. So they put us in our own dorms and we tear it down. It's just nonstop violence. So when I got sent to prison, I wasn't sentenced as a YO, but I was reclassified as a YO. So I ended up having to go to the YO dorms. And it's on-site, nonstop violence. It's gangland. And the second you get in there, if you've never seen violence before, It's a culture shock because you're seeing it on a level that's fucking insane.
What were you seeing at first that really just blew your mind in terms of what went on in there?
What, when I went to prison?
Yeah.
Oh, when we had to strip naked.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to get off that bus early as fuck in the morning. And, you know, there was a dude in a wheelchair who had no legs.
They told him to get naked too.
They told him to strip the fuck down. Yeah, he's looking at him like, what the fuck? Yeah. And there was a CEO in Orlando. I don't know if he still works there, but his name's 6'6", big black dude. And he's supposedly a Crip, the CEO. So there's certain CEOs that are known at certain spots for fucking inmates up, smacking the shit out of you, whatever. So he walked up to a Mexican that was standing there minding his business. We all dick out and everything, just standing up looking straight ahead. So he had his property or whatever, he dumped this shit on the ground, whatever. But he ended up saying some racist ass shit, and I didn't expect it to come from him, being that he was a black CEO. You know what I mean? So he's asking him, oh, what's in your property, da-da-da, you got a towel? He said, no, sir. He said, why didn't you bring your towel? Like, confused. He said, how you gonna get all that wet off your back? And we just sitting there like, damn. Like, they're not sparing nobody. Like, they're getting on. It's not even, when you get the certain spots with the white CEOs, it's like real Ku Klux Klan, like raccoons hanging off of nooses. That's their keychain. Shit's different.
Because it occurs to me that, like, if you had a clean bill of health, if mentally you were all there, that you would not put yourself into this environment and want to work in this shit? Or do you feel like once you're in there, it drives people crazy and makes them kind of start to imitate the prisoners that they're around almost?
It's like, you ever seen like Texas Chainsaw movie? So it's like the whole town was in it. It were all the killers. So in certain parts of Florida, they got these little raggedy ass towns. The whole fucking family works in the prison.
Right.
The nurse is the wife. The fucking warden is the uncle. So you hit a CO, you liable to get sent to somewhere where it's nothing but their family, and they're gonna take care of all that. So it's like their communities really function off the prisons. They thrive off the prisons. That's like the main job. If you live in that little country ass area,
right,
the main job for you there, the best career opportunity is working in the prison. And it's just, once they in there, they taste that power. Because, bro, the COs are slapping the fuck out of everybody.
Right.
Adults, youth offenders. It's worse for us. The youth offenders, we get fucked up. Like, we get punched on our shit, they knock teeth out. But there's certain spots, like Lake Butler was known for having a jar with gold teeth. So if you came through from Miami, from Orlando, because Lake Butler is known for the KKK. You can look this shit up even now. Like, recently, KKK getting locked up, undercover stings inside of the prisons. They were killing people and burying people at the prison and building buildings over their bodies. They put you on a permanent transfer list. So when you call to find out, hey, where's so-and-so at? I'm looking him up. I can't find him. He's not writing me back. Oh, he's in transfer. We can't tell you where he's at.
But he's dead.
Been dead as fuck.
And how are they able to pull that off for 10 years?
Because the whole Florida Department of Corrections is corrupt from every single level up, from the COs to the wardens to the inspectors to the fucking...
Wow.
Yeah, they fuck. You're more likely to die from the CO than an inmate.
Wow.
It ain't like out here where everybody's just getting stabbed to death. No, they'll beat the fuck out of you, kill you, and then put it on the inmate.
Because, like, I've seen cops get violent with people. It's usually in response to the person, you know, wilding out or, like, flipping out on the cop or even hitting the cop or whatever. But, like, even just showing up at prison and just seeing a fucking cop just deck a person in the face would blow my fucking mind. Like, oh, we're really in a very different place right now.
How you think I felt when I got the shit slapped out of me? I didn't know
How long did it take for that happened?
I mean, when I didn't get hit by a CO until I got to my first prison. The reception center, it wasn't on nothing. So one of the COs there was a king. He was fucking with us heavy, so he was giving us like K2, weed, tobacco. We smoking. We really like ran that shit. But first time a CO fucked with me was when I hit Sumter CI. So Sumter, they ran it like a boot camp. So we had a sergeant named Sergeant AB. He got the fucking military hat on and everything. And the COs are giving us warnings. Like when I hit reception, let me rewind a bit. When I hit reception, before I walked into the dorm, right? CO comes up to me. I'm the only white kid. So he's like, hey, listen. So white CO, hey, listen. They're gonna try you in there. Do what you gotta do. I'm not telling you to do nothing crazy, but do what you gotta do. I'm just thinking to myself, why the fuck is he telling me this? Is it that bad? You warning me right now? Like, I don't know if he's just on some white guy shit, but I looked in the window and ain't nothing but black faces looking back at me. Ain't no other white people in there. So I'm like, oh, fuck. So I get in there. Hey, come to the table. First quarter, like everybody rushed the table though. Who you is, where you from, what you is. And then I knew somebody that was in there and we kind of cleared the whole situation. First prison though, they open up the bus. Sergeant AB comes up. He peeks his head in. Hey, y'all can hear me? Yes, sir. He's whispering. We like, what the fuck? He said, I'm gonna give y'all the 5 to get the fuck off this bus. You understand? Yes, sir. 5, 4, 3, 2. We gotta jump off. So it's straight like military action. They slamming us against the fences, picking us up, slamming us on the floor. They take us into this room. They tell us to run into this dark ass room.
Right.
Can't see nothing in there. I'm the first one lined up. They tell me go. I said, fuck no. Told the kid next to me, I was taking his food at reception. I tell him to go in there. So he runs off in there, right? He runs off, the CO stops. Nah, I told you to do it. So I run off in there. The second I run up in there, I get picked up, slammed on my shit. Boots is kicking me in the face immediately.
And this is a whole system that they've designed to basically demoralize you and make it so that you're less likely to act out.
They want you to understand who runs that shit.
Right.
So they beat the fuck out of every single one of us one by one, got us all in the same room, and then made us line up, dick the butt.
Wow.
So they tell you dick the butt. Like you got to put your dick up on his butt and y'all like this in line, and they come through, they'll walk up, chin checking shit, like fucking us up. There was a female, she had a broomstick. She's poking inmates in the ass with it, saying we gonna get fucked when we hit the compound. So that's something that was happening a lot, was kids was getting TOHs and they getting fucked with broomsticks and shit, that's blowing their guts out. Jesus. So they trying to extort you type shit. So the extortion at Sumter, really throughout the YOs, it's at an all-time high. So a TOH is to test the high.
Right.
That's how they're gonna test you. So like if you a Chico, if you any type of Hispanic, they're gonna do it to you. If you're black, whatever gang you're in, they're gonna do it to you. If you're white, anybody's gonna do it to you.
So the rough definition of that is basically, it's like, because you gave one example in the older interview I saw where you were saying that you pulled up, you're a blood, and then you had like a bunch of dudes run up on you. Basically, they were bloods, but they were saying they were Crips trying to press you. Or I don't know if this actually happened to you or you were just giving an example.
No, I think I was giving an example. We used to do that shit to people. So, you know, if there was a Crip or a blood or whatever, we would act like we the opposite shit to see what they're talking about.
Right.
We saying the most disrespectful things we can come up with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we used to smash shit. So it's like we would get someone that was really in the gang and flip them and have them write out all their little lingo, knowledge, whatever. So when one of them come, we can check them.
Mm.
So we checking you on your Crip shit to find out if you know what the fuck you is. And if you don't know, it's easy to finesse you.
Right.
And then, you know, if we can finesse it without violence, we're getting that food off of you. But if we got to apply pressure, we apply pressure. So, yeah, we don't want you to feel comfortable. It's not like, you know, now that I've gotten into YouTube and I hear how other politics are, it's not like out West where your homies are going to embrace you, get you right on the food, check your paperwork. Nah, we're not on none of that. We're going to find out how the fuck you're going to stand if you're in a dorm by yourself.
Right.
Because if you get put into a dorm by yourself and they're like, oh, ain't no bloods in here, you're like, okay, you folded. You just folded. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're going to do that first. And then if you fuck up, we're going to get you.
Wow. That's crazy. So if you show up in prison and you already have like a street rep, could you be embraced automatically?
Yeah,
basically if you are random,
if you
we got to figure out what's going on.
If you run into the right people, or if you got somebody you know that's in the dorm with you, you're good. But it could really be dorm to dorm because you might get put in the wrong dorm.
But so this first one you got put in is all black dudes, so it's like, it's not like
no, there was white kids in there, but
they
were sitting on the floor. You couldn't see them.
Really?
Yeah, they couldn't sit on the benches.
So that's just straight bitch
So when the
status
CO
right
saw me sitting on the bench, that's when they knew, like, oh, this is somebody. Who the fuck is this? They called me in the booth. They trying to G-chat me. One of the COs was talking about he a blood.
Really?
The COs, bro, like the COs gang bang type shit. So it's like, if you meet one that's that, you might start getting hooked up. And we did start getting hooked up. Wow. But we were really getting hooked up off the king CO.
Okay.
He started
Why
bringing
was he
shit.
fucking with you guys so much?
Well, the houseman that ran the little unit that I was in was a Latin king. So just off the strength, they both kings, he started supplying shit. And at the same time, we kept shit in order because we was the most violent one. We were 18 and under.
Right.
So you had 18 and under. This is at the Central Florida Reception Center. It's H-Dorm. Hell Dorm.
Monster spill? The quicker picker up. Bounty.
Hotel dorm, whatever you want to call it. There's 3 different wings to it. So one is 18 and under, the other one's 19 to 20, and 21 to 24. 21 to 24 look like old men. They're sitting there drinking coffee, they're not on nothing.
Because they already been through it.
And there's already like 4 or 5 of them in there. Like, there's no one in there. 19 to 20, that's a little decent. A couple of them got scars on their faces because they already went to a prison. They're switching prisons. 18 and under, we're the most vicious because we're trying to make a name.
Right.
So the King CEO, the King CEO used to basically let us run the house. So it's like if somebody wants to fight, he would open the mop closet. We get in there, we handle that. He just didn't want us cutting anybody. As long as no one's getting cut, nobody's getting poked up, we can handle it how we handle it. And I became a houseman. So when new cops used to come in, we get to pop their cell like we're cleaning it and we're running down on them, beating them with broomsticks, and getting whatever the fuck we can get because we're all starving at this point. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm a fucking, but we're hungry.
Right.
None of us have food. Nobody ever sent me food when I was in prison. I got food like 2 times.
So if you don't have money coming in from a family member or whatever,
starving,
it's just not enough food. So everybody's kind of in this constant state of scarcity.
You can't even eat everything that's on the tray. It's not all edible. And then at the same time, like the milk be spoiled as fuck.
Yeah.
So it's really on some shit. Like if you're not finna fight about that food, just give it up.
Now that you've talked to like a million different people who are in different prisons all over America, does it stand out to you that Florida might actually be the worst?
I don't think Florida's the worst. I would say probably out here. Yeah, because I don't want to wake up and work out every fucking day. You know what I mean? You could be lazy in Florida, but the thing about it is the politics out here is respectable.
Right.
It cleans a lot of shit up and it keeps shit organized.
Right.
So California got the SNY shit, the PC shit, and that's where all the madness is at as far as like sex offenders, the weirdos, the snitches. Florida, we're all in one spot. There's no separation.
There's no PC in Florida.
Bro, PC is a confinement status.
Right.
You just go to the box. Like if you checked in on me, bro, and you went PC, I could go PC, or he could go PC, and then he gonna get put in the cell with you. And then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna take an envelope, I'm gonna write it out in his name, but I'm not gonna put like it's gonna miss the zip code or something. So what happens is the letter goes to the mailroom, and then they send it back to him, who's in the cell with you. You don't even know that he knows me though. But what I already did is I took a razor blade, broke it in half, put it behind the stamp. So when the letter comes back to him, now we got a razor. Now he's cutting you up in the cell. You can't get out. So you can go PC, but we're gonna get at you. There's no separate compound for you.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, then you're just gonna get sent to another prison.
So were you having fun doing all this when you first got in there? Because this is kind of like, you're someone who's attracted to madness. Once you get into this environment, I mean, this is like the most madness you can imagine.
Bro, this is it. Like, it isn't, the only step under prison is death. Right. It doesn't get worse than that. You in prison or you die. You know what I mean? So when I was in there, you can't do nothing but love it, bro. You can't just sit there and be fucking depressed. Like, this is the next 3 years of my life. I'm 18 years old. We got to turn up. And I mean, there's a lot of good times. Not everything is violent. You know, you meet a lot of solid people, but the most solid people I met were at the most violent places because that's what people's true colors show. When you meet somebody that you know is willing to shed blood about you, whether it's their own or fucking someone else up, it's a different kind of vibe. But, you know, we got one super splitting in 2 ways. Like, there's a lot of good times, but it's a lot of fucked up shit. And the thing about it, mentally, is in there, you're just consumed by madness. You don't know, or you don't understand how it's gonna hit you until you get out. I didn't. I was fine in there. You know what I mean? Like, my first year, I got cut, I got poked up, I got hit with a brick. My first prison, I cut a kid in the cell with me. So I dove into it head first. I was getting hit up, I was hitting shit up. When I got out, in the peaceful environment, I've been sitting with my daughter.
That feels good.